club's about winning trophies. I'm inexperienced in a lot of those things.
3-0.
Can you believe it?
Almost lost the cup and you win it. The new European champions, the treble, the dream come true for you.
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we are bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Ooh, sir. How you doing? How you doing? Another Monday in paradise, another throwback match with no football return in sight, at least in the UK. How you doing? How you holding up during these trying times?
I mean, as far as trying times go, I've learned how to sit inside my house. Thank God for the internet machine. Classic Manchester United matches, like you said. We watched Aston Villa versus Manchester United, the away fixture in the 2012-2013 season. Famously, the 20th title. Sir Alex Ferguson's last year. What a comeback for Manchester United away.
What a comeback. What a match. Often overshadowed by the other time we played Aston Villa this season where RVP scored a screamer volley to win the title. So I had forgotten about this match somehow. But what a game it was. So glad that we went back to the history books and unearthed this one because it was a Chicharito masterclass in the second half.
I mean, these archives run deep. Chicharito, I give him the hat trick just as a fan, but clearly it was 2 goals, an own goal by Villa. But, you know, it's just great to see Paul Scholes pulling the strings, wearing 22 in the midfield. You know, the comeback Paul Scholes, but he still had it. Carrick next to him, young David De Gea in net. He was up to the task. And then RVP Rooney playing one striker up top, one behind. I thought that was a really interesting combination. I mean, this is kind of Sir Alex Ferguson squeezing everything out of the players he had at the time, winning that last title, and he knew we were due for a rebuild. I think that's kind of what pushed him to retirement. He probably had 2 years left, but knowing where the squad was headed, I think he just got out of Dodge.
I think he ended on top the way he always wanted to, and probably saw the task at hand to rebuild this squad with tightwad owners and the Glazers. He knew he wasn't going to get the money that he really needed to rebuild this squad for another 5 years of battling for Champions League places, or Champions League silverware. Remember how this season ended in that affair with a Nani red card with a Turkish ref. That game so infamous. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Real Madrid.
Oh my God. We had their number. We had the game, and then that ridiculous red card out of nowhere. But it was a hell of a season. Number 20, like you said, RVP. This game, ridiculous. Number 7, Valencia. He did not do the number 7 justice. Did not look like a number 7 in this game. Looked like a haphazard
this
right
is
back.
when he was a winger, right? This is back in the day where he wasn't a right back, and he did well. Him and Ashley Young came from Villa, one of Sir Alex Ferguson's last signings. I thought it was interesting to see Young and Valencia playing their proper positions as wingers instead of right back and left back, kind of swapping back and forth as we've seen in their later years. But I mean, what a squad, what a win, what a season for Manchester United. And, when Sir Alex Ferguson retired, we all knew it'd be a little while before we lifted that trophy. Been 7 years and counting, clearly COVID-19 extending that. But, sir, let's jump in. Quick PSA for the podcast. We are offering a free American Red Devils undefeated hoodie, champion hoodie with our badge logo. Sir, I'm wearing it as we speak. All you need to do to win or enter to win is to write a review for the podcast on iTunes, preferably 5 stars. Cheeky banter, the best one we'll pick when Manchester United kick off, whether it's this season or next season, whenever we kick off again, we'll pick a winner. All you need to do is write a review on iTunes. We'll read out the best ones on the podcast, sir, and give away a free hoodie. So, I mean, everyone's got probably, 10 seconds it would take to write that review, and it goes a long way for helping this podcast. Again, we're for fans, by fans, and those reviews help a ton for us to get found in the iTunes store.
They certainly do, and you can also pick up a hoodie because they are still for sale. If you go to americanreddevils.com, check out our blog, check out our store, pick up a scarf, pick up a sticker, whatever you like. We understand these are trying times for people financially, but we would certainly appreciate the support, and it goes a long way. When is football coming back, sir? Do we have an update from COVID? Because I got no idea. The news is like shifting. It's about as firm as quicksand.
I mean, big day for news, both yesterday and today coming out of the UK. I mean, I feel like I'm a fan of COVID-19 in the UK here because I'm following it day to day as far as what's going to be happening with the English Premier League. This is kind of replaced following the day-to-days of Manchester United here. So yesterday, Boris Johnson, he came out. He basically outlined a conditional plan, conditional plan with multiple phases. And everyone was looking to when sports could return in any setting. And essentially, they can return in phase 2 of the plan. Phase 2 would permit cultural and sporting events to take place behind closed doors for telebroadcast. So that would qualify for English Premier League football. But the catch is you can't go to phase 2 before June 1st. So there can be definitely no sports before June 1st as far as the government says. And in order to get to phase 2 of the plan, right, because there is a phase 1 that we're currently in, the amount of cases have to go down. And the latest out of the UK, that trend line, I mean, maybe we're talking 3% better than it was last time we did the podcast, not much better. And they're starting to reopen things. So, I mean, I tweeted out a few videos of people on the tube today, no masks. So we'll see how that goes. But without marked improvement over the next 30 days, phase 2 could be delayed from June 1st to who knows when. So if all of a sudden those new case numbers in the UK skyrocket, I doubt we're going to see phase 2, and I doubt we're going to see English Premier League from the government's perspective, sir. What do you make of that?
I think you're spot on in a number of regards. They're opening things back up, so it's very unlikely the numbers are going to go down. Hopefully they just stabilize and don't go up in an astronomical way. But that phase 1 is going to be a lot longer than I think they think, right? If you have to get through phase 1 to get to phase 2, or we can talk about live sports again, even behind the closed door audience, phase 1 is going to take a while to get to a point where the numbers are going down in a meaningful way. So June,
well, no one knows.
Return of football, even the return of football in Germany is already hitting immediate snags. I think there are a bunch of teams or members of teams that are going into quarantine because they tested positive under the new testing program in Germany just to return football. And as soon as that outbreak spreads, I think they're going to shut things down pretty quickly. So I don't know if you've seen anything in the German market, but we might close it down before we even get it back up going again.
No, exactly. We all were looking to the Bundesliga to come back, and then I think there were a few cases. I forget exactly what team it was, but they're going to be quarantined. Again, a third player on Brighton has been diagnosed with COVID-19. That was 2 days ago. So we're already seeing, as testing ramps up in these clubs, you're probably going to see a lot more cases that players have or have had. Again, this thing is viciously contagious, and I think if you can't even – you have all these teams quarantining however many people per team, and you look at all the staff required to do this, it's just almost going to be impossible to ensure no one has COVID-19, especially when you can test negative, still carry it. This is just pretty much an unsolvable problem. Given that was sort of the government's stance, and they're going into phase 1, everyone's on the tube, no mask. It's a bold move there on the tube in the UK. We'll see how that goes. Then you have sort of the clubs. So today was a big meeting for the clubs. A few notes actually just came out from Sky Sports. Essentially, the whole idea of neutral venues, most clubs do not want that to happen. All clubs, essentially, there's a consensus to play at home grounds, not do the neutral stadiums. We'll see if it was actually the head of police for football in the UK who said they wanted neutral grounds, not each individual stadium, just because of the logistics behind the policing of it. There's no suggestion of relegation not being in play for the season. Clubs have agreed on contract extensions for loans, so essentially there'll be no issues with what happens to the loans intra-league, players being loaned in between clubs. Right. And the Premier League essentially can return to training on May 18th. So as soon as next Monday, clubs can get players back on the training pitch. That's quite a lot, sir. I mean, you're talking about essentially clubs can agree on all this at a high level, but when you talk to the medical staff, the logistics, what can really happen. I mean, I think there's a little too much optimism on the side of the clubs for this project restart. When you look at the new case number, where the government is, I think everyone's very optimistic because nobody knows kind of what's next, right? So essentially, if cases go up, like you said, or, players test positive or coming into training, I think they'll throw everything by the wayside. So all this optimism we have right now, all the momentum we're kind of feeling about getting back to training next week, it's cautious optimism, right?
Cautious at best. I mean, I think I'm going to butcher this old saying, but it's like everyone's got a plan, and that's great, but that's great until you get punched in the face. We're going to have a plan in theory until all of a sudden you go out there and try and execute it on a day-to-day basis, have multiple games across multiple venues, and shit can hit the fan very quickly. And I think that's what's going to happen is like they're going to try and get Bundesliga up and running as we speak, and as soon as they do, cases are going to come out, players are going to get sick, support staff are going to get sick, and then they're going to have to shut it all back down before you even really get it back up and going again. So I would imagine a similar type of thing would happen in the UK, where just they're lagging behind where Germany is at the moment. But I'm not getting myself excited that we're going to see Manchester United live football in June. I don't see it happening. I think we're a long way from that, given everything that's going on. So I think it might be a lot more throwback matches for the near-term future, sir. So thankfully, we support the greatest club of all time with more awesome matches than just about any club. So we've got plenty of archives.
No, there's plenty of classic matches we can watch. We want live football. I mean, we're talking about when this is going to be back. And maybe I'm a pessimist by nature. Again, I want to be an optimist here, but it's when you look at the facts, like when Boris Johnson's sitting there saying everyone can, go back to work, this is essential or whatever, and you look at their case numbers not going down, it's like they're not in a good spot to do what they're doing. And I think they're just doing it because everyone's sick of staying at home. And I agree. I have that same feeling here. Like I'm sick of staying at home too. But if you look at the numbers, it's like the United States is in the same place UK is. Even if Germany opens up, they could have more cases, and they've done a great job. You look at all those. South Korea is another good example of someone who was able to control it. But the countries that haven't controlled it opening up, it just doesn't seem to be. Clearly we all want that to be the case, but as far as the science would say, as far as how contagious this virus is, it doesn't seem to be the move. And when you look at kind of where the league is headed, the FA chairman Greg Clark came out and he told Premier League clubs today they will not sanction no relegation or voiding the season. They literally won't do it. They basically say this season has to be resolved, or they need to plan for something if the season can't be completed. So essentially, they're giving Liverpool the title. Like today, they said that. They said this season will be finished whether we decide it on merits, like as the table stands, or if we complete it. So he must be a scouser because he wants to give Liverpool the goddamn title. And as a Manchester United fan, that's one thing it's like I almost can't stand for that. You have to void the season. It's the only way it makes sense. Is to just clean slate, start anew. To the idea of giving out titles, giving us fifth on this, like with not playing the rest of the games, like Liverpool didn't win the league. They didn't win the league. There's no way that you can give them the title based on this. It's insane.
I mean, how far are we away from like each club just sending their best FIFA representative to just eke it out? We'll do like online matches. Just call that the end of the season and be like, all right, you're playing Brighton this week. Representative for Brighton is so-and-so. Representative for United is Dan James. And then we'll just watch the match. And I bet you people would watch. I mean, a ton of people will watch, especially if we had ramifications. But
it's like it should be played. You play those games, you play those teams, home and away. The table at the end of the year says who goes up, who goes down, who makes the Champions League. Imagine us not qualifying for Champions League, and we didn't even get a chance to finish the season. We're killing it right now. It's not fair to just all of a sudden anoint Liverpool, EPL champions when they didn't earn it.
I mean, they were like about to win it, so let's not say they didn't earn it. Because I hate the Scousers as much as you do. But they were like a game or two away from winning it.
You didn't win it.
I agree. They haven't won it yet.
They didn't win it.
They haven't won it yet.
When did we get given anything when we won 20 EPL titles? Nothing was given. You have to earn it. If they had won it mathematically, I agree. But did they win it mathematically? No. So you can't be giving it out. That's not a thing of doing. All I'm saying is someone's going to get screwed out of this, no matter what. Somebody's getting screwed, whether it's a big club, small club, everybody in between. The nugget at the end that they're worried about is the TV money, right? And I think what came out today was that they're still going to be owed the TV companies like £350 million, even if football starts in June. So there's a mess. That was a Jersey
massive mess.
real jersey move coming out on the TV contracts. They say that they basically won't even pay them in full if they play behind closed doors, essentially. So there's a legal battle over that. I think this whole optimism, the FA chairman, all this stuff, like you said, it's a plan until you get punched in the mouth. So, I mean, this is going to be determined by lawyers. It's going to be determined by a vote of those clubs. Clearly, I think there's more teams that would vote against just basically keeping the table as is. I don't think they have the 14 votes. At least, clearly the FA has final say here. But, as far as the clubs go, I mean, people are going to be not happy about that type of resolution the FA chairman alluded to today. And then, so we have the government, we have the clubs, then you get to the players. Players aren't pumped. They don't want to return because clearly it's not safe. One player that we were linked to a little while ago, maybe a year ago, Danny Rose, he said, quote, "I don't give a fuck about the nation's morale. People's lives are at risk. The potential return of the Premier League is a joke." And he admits he has paid no attention to the project restart, and he has to get tested next week, right? So they're starting to test the players like next week, and that's really when we're going to know essentially what the issue is. I mean, Kyle Walker's throwing sex parties. He's going around how many people
I missed that. I mean, the problem with having a newborn baby is I've missed all the juicy social media angst that's been going on. Is Kyle Walker having boonga boonga parties?
He's placed for Manchester City. So, I mean, what do you expect? But so between the government, they're optimistic. We'll see how that plan goes. Then the clubs are optimistic. The FA saying you have to finish it no matter what, even if you got to vote on it. And then the players basically, if I was a player, I would not be too pumped to get back on the field. I don't know how you think about the player's perspective.
No, of course not. Like I said, someone's going to end up being screwed. Someone's going to be pissed. The players, what's going to happen is going to be like, all right, well, we say it's safe to play. Football TV guys say it's safe to play. If you guys don't want to play, you're not getting paid. Contracts get void. It's like this is such a mess coming to a head that is only just getting started. Wait till the players start going back to training. Like you said, they're all going to be tested on day one just to see who's even allowed in the facility. But people have to go back to their houses. People have to go grocery shopping. So cases are going to continue to pop up. Players are going to get infected. Staff's going to get infected. And until they can guarantee that like adequate testing for frontline workers, is football essential.
Yeah, I mean,
it's important to morale, but is it essential the same way that people working in food factories that need to feed the masses? It's hard to argue it.
Essential if they can ensure it's safe, and they can't ensure it's safe. So it's not essential, right? They can't ensure. Like the UFC was a great example. One of the fighters tested positive coming in, tested negative. Then you had a family member who had it. Then he had it. He was there. I don't know if they're doing follow-up tests on those fighters. I mean, that's a great case study. Like, hey, maybe that worked where they were able to catch it. But could you imagine like all the Manchester United players getting ready in a locker room 6 feet apart with masks on, and they got on the field, take everything off? I mean, this is the type of stuff we're talking about. It just seems like a little too much. Like, it seems like a bridge too far to me. That's why my question isn't, are we going to see it in June? My question, are we going to see it in 2020? I mean, honestly, like, when's the next time we're going to see, Manchester United versus Tottenham is our next game? I have to think right now, my position is this season isn't going to happen. The real question is, can we get next season to happen? And I think yes, but probably delayed in some fashion. Now will require some breakthrough in testing, like an instant test with saliva or something. But right now where we are and where the UK is especially, I think it's a no-go. I think they're going to try. I really do think they're going to try. They're going to try a lot of stuff. It could make sense to try a lot of different things, try to do it. But I think like the UFC, you're going to have positive tests, you're going to have all this stuff going on, and then you realize how many moving parts there are and how little control they have and how basically they can't ensure a safe playing environment for that many people. The UFC is 2 people in a cage, and that almost got blown up. And that was the case today I was watching. Imagine how many people you need on a team, 30 at a minimum from each side.
It's true. On
a bus together. Where are they going to stay? I mean, the questions are just like, it's too much right now. And unfortunately for us, the United States and the UK, we don't look like we have it under control. I mean, regionally we do, but overall,
it's a proper mess. It's a proper mess. And there's a long road between here and there is the big thing. Is like they have so much other stuff they need to work out before they even think about bringing entertainment back. So it might be a while. I mean, you're probably, that's the first time it's been talked about was like 2020. Is that the target this year? And that is very possible.
I mean, I have friends in San Francisco that are giving up their apartments. They're just like gone. They're like, hey, there's no reason to be in the city because there's nothing happening and can't do anything for probably another year. I mean, it's crazy to talk like that. And, you don't want to think like that. But, like, we're looking at the science people like, come on, man.
Do your thing. We're counting on you.
Get a vaccine, get a test, get all this cool stuff so we can start doing some cool stuff. But, hey, Netflix, replays, pods, sir. I mean, it's unbelievable. When's next time we're going to do a pod together? We'll see.
We will see. Maybe we might have to do it with masks. We'll get straws for our Guinness.
I did think about that, and I was like, how bad will it sound if we both have masks on?
Very bad.
Pod? But, yeah, very bad. All right, enough of the doom and gloom speak.
Geez.
But, man, there was a lot going on this week, so we'll try to keep you guys posted. But the good news is there's tons of amazing matches you totally forgot about. One of those, Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 3 at Villa Park, Saturday, November 12th, 2012, sir. I remember you told me, where'd you get this match? I totally forgot about it. I thought you were going to play the Aston Villa game. Obviously, they were playing at home at Old Trafford when we won the title. But no, this happened early in the season, and it was those Nike whites with that red dash. Love that kit. It was good.
That kit.
I remember
it was
we
nice.
were wearing white. I was like, kind of look like Madrid. It looks lit.
It did, and the white and red with the black crest. It's hard to beat. Nike, man, they ended strong. They started strong. They were always a very strong kit provider, especially when you look at the hot garbage off the presses for our third kit the upcoming year. It's like unbelievable. They're both white, and it's a zebra, and this one is just simple. Like the less is more approach. We're Manchester United. We're the greatest club in the history of sport, and you don't have to overdo it with a fucking zebra. So just keep it simple, like this game showed you. How good these players look.
We got to do a bet with that zebra kit. I was thinking
my God.
I was thinking like,
Oh my God.
if you lose the bet, you got to buy it and then you got to wear it to like the next home game that we go to. Just because
It's a good bet.
Like, I don't want to buy. First of all,
You got to send me some steaks, by the way. Where's that Pogba? What am I getting that Pogba steak? Sorry, I think you got to send me some steaks. Omaha, send me some Omaha steaks.
No, I'm gonna do. We're gonna go to steak dinner.
I'm gonna collect on that dinner in 2021 at the earliest.
We will. All right, jumping into the lineup. A young De Gea in net, looking a little scrawny.
Super
looks
scrawny.
Much more yoked now. Stronger beard game. Rafael, number 2 at right back. Smalling, Ferdinand, center back pairing. Rio looking fit. Evra left back, strong. Sir Carrick, Scholes midfield. Rooney playing number 10. Ashley Young on the left wing, Valencia on the right wing, and Van Persie up top. Number 20, RVP, one of the best to do it in the English Premier League. He had that 3-year spell where, he was pretty much one of the top players in the world. Unbelievable. He hit the post twice in this game.
Yeah, like you said, top striker coming out of Arsenal and then coming to United. Had one of his best years for United in that push for the 20th title. Had a quiet game in this one, but like you said, at the very end, hit the woodwork twice within like a couple minutes. So showing what he had in his arsenal.
He had that whip on the ball. Our RVP just absolutely lethal on all fronts, in the box, outside the box. He was just knew where to be, knew how to basically. You saw some of those goals. Sorry, you watched that season. You watched the season. All the goals he scored, unbelievable. And when he didn't score, we got Wayne Rooney. And when he didn't score, we got Chicharito on the bench.
You got it. He's an ultimate super sub. That was a hell of a season. There are a lot of great matches from that. The City comeback, the Southampton game where Van Persie got the hat trick. Obviously the other Aston Villa match. So a lot of good stuff.
Hey, you want to jump in the first half?
Absolutely. I think we mentioned it. Started off scrappy game and a scrappy first half for sure. Wasn't a lot of chances on either end, and United looked a little laborious. They're slow with the ball, and Villa was packing it in, playing some pretty comeback defense with some good shape. And it didn't really happen until the 45th minute. We wish we had the audio. We couldn't find it, but I don't know the name of the player. But Aston Villa scores at the end of stoppage time and gets a lead going into halftime, probably an undeserved lead, but they took their chance, made the most of some defensive mishaps at the back, and grab a goal at Villa Park. The place goes nuts.
No, it was, Benteke actually set the goal up, sir. Unbelievable from Aston Villa. Got a little lucky, definitely going into half, and Sir Alex, this is when he bust out the hairdryer for sure.
He busted the hairdryer. I'm sure that's what they were telling them at halftime. They came out in the second half, made a sub right away. Chicharito was brought in for Ashley Young, and that ended up being the masterclass move of the game, and showing why Fergie earned the big bucks and is the legend he is, the OG Kush Sir, that started it all. 50th minute, the same player, I think it was Walleman. I can't remember his name.
No, Wyman.
Wyman. He scores again. So Villa, all of a sudden at this
Just
point.
right out the gate. Great strike, too.
Yeah.
Great strike.
Nice hit. Villa got 2 up, and the place is rocking. United look out. They haven't shown any class up to this point, but in the 58th minute, it was a little bit of magic.
Scholes, he's looking for Chicharito through the middle. Great ball, great control as well. Chicharito's right back in it. It's so important United scored quickly. They've got one back.
Chicharito, a absolute peach of a ball from Paul Scholes, and then Chicharito does enough and sticks it between the goalie's legs. Great goal from the Mexican striker.
I mean, Paul Scholes, it was crazy watching the game because it's almost like Carrick and Scholes, how deep they sit and they spray the ball. It's unbelievable the control we had. You can look at the possession, 69% of the ball when the match was finished, but Paul Scholes just with a unbelievable, just back to front, right to Chicharito, who had a lot to do, a defender and a goalie, Meg the keeper, a classic Chicharito finish. It's almost like whatever he did, the ball went in the net. I mean, you have to give Chicharito credit. I was a huge fan, sir. I was wearing my number 14 shorts the other day. I mean, I really rated him. It was unfortunate how he departed Manchester United.
It was unfortunate how a number of the players on this pitch this day departed. You know, I think unceremoniously, LVG sacked a lot of players that probably didn't deserve to be sacked. Van Persie being one of them, Raphael being another one, and Chicharito.
Yeah,
probably,
Raphael.
I mean, like early, and they sold him for peanuts. Both these players. LVG had no idea what he was doing. One of the worst transfer managers in the history of Manchester United. Only got Martial right in my book.
Hey, won the FA Cup, sir. Won the FA Cup.
There you go. Won the FA Cup. And in this game, 62nd minute, Chicharito again. We don't have the audio for that goal, but he gets a little bit of an own goal deflection. It looked like it was going in no matter what, but they attributed it to
off
Vlar.
A corner, right?
It was off a corner, but the Mexican proving dangerous again, and all of a sudden United are tied 2-2 with 30 minutes to go. Following that, United decided to change things up about 10 minutes later. First sub was bringing off, old man Scholes, who's getting a little long in the tooth at this point in his career. Cleverly comes on. Cleverly. Still won more Premier League titles than Steven Gerrard. I love that. And then speaking of legends, on comes Anderson for Rooney in the 79th minute, freeing them up for midweek games. Then we talked about it, 80th to 84th minute, RVP hits the post twice. Could have buried Aston Villa at this point, sir.
Tied 2-2 away. The current United side, we probably lose 2-1. Fergie, I mean, the last 10 minutes, just like cranking up the heat. It's almost like we just knew exactly what to do. 80th minute hits, everyone going forward, everyone running forward. However, an RVP, great opportunity, sir, and it all led. We all knew it was coming, sir. Manchester United score. They always score.
87th minute.
6 white shirts in there. Can he find one of them? Here's the chance! Classic Manchester United! It's Chicharito, the game changer! Villa 2, United 3.
Great ball in from RVP, and absolute peach of a header, diving header from the Mexican striker. What a finish, what a goal. And how seeing it against her, those white kits look even better in motion.
Oh, I mean, we also forget how deadly RVP was from free kicks. I mean, he kind of obviously most of his career is associated with Arsenal. Everyone remembers that volley to win the league, but I mean, without him, we don't win.
No.
We don't win the EPL this
No
season.
way.
And it's amazing to say that even with Wayne Rooney in the side, feel like we needed RVP. And for him to come over for, how much did he come over for, sir? How cheap was he?
27 million pounds.
Unbelievable.
Same as
Probably one of
Fellaini.
the best deals of all time. We basically bought the title for less than 20 million. It's like, it's like Muppetry, mate. Complete Muppetry.
Yeah, well worth it. And, obviously a lot of his fame is attributed to his Arsenal success, but he won more at United. Obviously never won a Premier League title with the Gunners, which is why he moved north. And what a move it was. What a season he had. couldn't really replicate that form under LVG, and I think he was a little irked that Fergie left after promising him the world. But he got 1 year with the Kings, so it's better than nothing.
I know, but Fergie, he's a boss, dude. Don't matter none. He's just like, hey, RVP, you're great, but I'm out.
Ending on top. Ending on top.
So our match reaction, another great comeback win for Manchester United. I said possession, United 69% of the ball, Villa's 31. Shots on target, Villa 3 to Manchester United's 5. Hernandez has now found the net 7 times in his last 5 matches, and this was United's 14th victory in the last 16. As a result, it leaves Sir Alex Ferguson's side 4 points clear at the top of the table. And incredibly, the Old Trafford club has won 15 points from losing positions this season. That's incredible. Manchester United in the 2012-2013 season, we only lost 5 games. We lost to Everton. That was the kickoff game. That was away. We lost by 1. Tottenham, Norwich, Manchester City, and Chelsea. And obviously the Chelsea game, we'd already clinched the title. But, I mean, completely amazing. We basically, after this Villa game, we lost to Norwich. We were in second for a week. And then from November 24th, 2012, all the way to the end, we were in first place. And those were the good old days when you just didn't need to check the table.
You know where we were. You know we were first. You know we were first, and it was, if you could be top of the table by Christmas, there was a good chance that United would have an even better second half of the year, which we always tended to do. As good as we would start, we'd finish even better. Under Fergie.
That Norwich City loss, sir, 18 unbeaten.
Ridiculous.
Just 18 unbeaten. And you remember Kagawa was in this team as well. He's one that gets overlooked quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I remember him doing was, didn't he have a hat trick against Norwich? But other than that, he had a pretty quiet United career.
Yeah. Going back to Dortmund, he kind of went quiet after that. But, I mean, that jersey looked good. I actually rated him a lot. I thought he'd be a great player. But, no, you're right. He did have that hat trick home against Norwich. I mean, that's an impeccable memory.
That's the only thing I remember. I mean, he went without scoring goals, scored a hattie, and then didn't do much else.
Unbelievable. Sorry, I think you can hear my son just squealing in the background. I think he is trying to eat peas for the first time ever. So maybe he does not. Maybe he doesn't rate them. Obviously, we won the league. We won with 11 points over Manchester City with 89. City had 78, Chelsea 75, Arsenal 73, Tottenham 72. It's unbelievable how much we dominated that year. And like we said, RVP 30 goals, won the Golden Boot. Chicha had 18, outscoring Rooney in all competitions, who had 16. I thought that was who would have thought Chicha outscored Rooney in this season? And then going back to just an overall look at EPL Golden Boot winners, clearly RVP was the last to win it for Manchester United. But one who won it for United, who I didn't think gets enough credit, Berbatov. Do you know Berbatov won the Golden Boot for Manchester United?
I totally forgot that. I do remember him winning it.
2011. I had no idea.
20 goals, kind of a relatively low haul, but he was great that season. I think that was the season of the Liverpool hat trick. We obviously won the league that year. So he was,
Did he score 4 too? He had a bunch of hat tricks. I think that's what got him in.
Yeah. But he was scoring bunches. He was one of those players that would be quiet a lot of games and then all of a sudden just go off.
But it's amazing to think, like, RVP, Golden Boot winner 2 years in a row, won it with Arsenal, and then left to play for Manchester United. That will probably never happen again. Like a Golden Boot winner leaving a club and going in the same league and then winning it again for another team. That's just like incredible. I don't think we'll ever see that happen again.
We will see, sir. I never thought we'd be talking about football not coming back till 2021, but here we are. So anything's possible.
No, it's just like name a striker who could get bought like that. I mean, it just wouldn't happen in today's game. I wouldn't. I mean,
if we bought Harry Kane, assuming Harry Kane had just won the Golden Boot, and we paid over the odds for him, and he came and did the same thing. That's probably the only equivalent I can think of. But we're not buying Harry Kane anytime soon.
Well, how much would Harry Kane cost? I mean, yeah, it could happen, but what would the price be? It would be 150 million, something like that. But it's just insane to think that. So it's a long time ago, but a little less than 8 years, and that was that cheap to kind of get that player and then go on win the league. Clearly, he was going to let his contract run down, but I mean that was a move that Sir Alex kind of gets glossed over, that RVP purchase. He was thinking about going to City too. I actually thought he was going to go to Manchester City, and that could determine the league.
Could have, but the rest they say is history. So it all worked out in our favor. But hey, he left. He picked David Moyes afterwards, so you gotta give him a little bit of criticism just for that.
How dare you?
You gotta remind me. At least you forgot. I love Fergie, but come on.
Why do you throw shade on him about the Moyes pick?
Because that was bad.
I mean, you thought Moyes had.
Moyes is out of his depth. He was never a good pick. He was a terrible pick. He was a terrible pick. He never won anything with Everton.
At that time, I don't think there was a good pick.
There's a better pick than David Moyes. There's a better pick.
I don't know. I think that at the time Moyes coming in, you're like, all right, he's doing something with Everton. Managers were different. They kind of hung around a little more back then. It was a different time than it is now. Clearly the Klopp, the Mourinho.
Could have gotten Poch. You could have gotten Klopp, your boy. I mean, there's plenty of boys you could have gotten. If you were like, they had more of a nose, they were more tactical geniuses and emerging stars than David Moyes, who's gone on to have a flubber of a career after United, right? I mean, look at his track record has been so bad. Just like, he hasn't been good.
Don't have good careers. Yeah. I mean, Mourinho's not doing well. LVG didn't do well. It's kind of the kiss of death. But, sir, United in the news. Let's get into the relevant news for Manchester United fans here. Man, stadium. So Igalo FC might be no more. Shanghai Shenhua, they are looking to get him back from the start of their season in July. I actually think they're posturing. I think they want to sell him, and they're asking around $20 million. So they're basically threatening, hey, we're going to get him back from his loan if you don't pony up the cash now. $20 million to Manchester United. You do the deal, Odin Igalo?
Pre-COVID, probably. $20 million seems like a reasonable amount. He looks like a young 30. Guy takes great care of himself, so I would have no issues with that. But right now, I feel more like $10 million. Sir,
the question is $20 million. You do it. You need $20 million.
Probably not. $20 million.
You're going to say Igalo FC no more?
Not for 20. I'm going to negotiate. Shanghai Shangguan. We got to talk business, baby. I'm not just saying I'm going to pay you $20 million because you say so. Because we're apparently going to give him a $400,000 contract.
Gary Neville said he's not worth it. He said he's not worth 20.
Not worth 20 now. I think before everything happened, I would pay 20. But right now, it's like, no. Are you kidding me? Money's going to be hard, dude. We're going to have to be very selective with the kitty that they're given this summer to play with.
And this is like, I think he's worth 20 million. And I actually think it's probably more like 18. Right? So I'd like to pay 12, but you're looking at 18. He was playing well. He gets along with the squad. He wants to be there. The intangible is there. He worked well with Ole. He was a boyhood fan of the club. And where are you going to get a striker cheaper than 20 million? I mean, clearly he's 30, so you got to sign him for what, 2-3 years. The real question is what's his wages? He was making $300K a week, Shanghai Shenhua. So if you could take a pay cut and make some of that Jesse Lingard type money, 150,
that's the problem. Is you're asking him to take a big pay cut.
Yeah, if he's willing to do that, then the deal looks more attractive to me. I actually think it's the wages, not essentially the upfront fee, because we know Igalo works, especially with his hold-up play that we saw against Manchester City. He complements our strikers. We have young Greenwood, we have Rashford, we have Martial, but we don't quite have a hold-up player like him where you can bring him on in the 70th minute, kind of have him hold the ball up, take the pressure off the defense. I think he is just fits into our squad well, and he's cheap relatively to, hey, we want to go buy any youngster now. Anyone's going to quote you 50. Right, short of them being BK, bankrupt and need to sell in a fire sale. Clearly, I'd rather go youth, but I think for this time, this squad, this player fits in well, knowing we're not going to go out and sign number 9 for 50, 60 million.
No, we're not. But I think we can get a better deal, slightly better. We're going to negotiate. That's all I'm saying. I think we get the deal done, but it's going to be below 20 million pounds. That's all I'm saying.
All right, next bit of news: Manchester United to seal 20 million transfer thanks to secret agent Ryan Giggs. So secret, he can bang his brother's wife without him knowing, sir. That's
speaking of low blows. Speaking of low blows. Speaking of low blows.
I will always low blow Giggs.
I can tell. I know. The pod knows it well too.
So you want to jump in here about
absolutely. So there's quite a bit of smoke coming around this. Another Swansea player, Joe Rodon, who is a 22-year-old English defender. 6'4", bit of a unit, and he's someone that Ryan Giggs rates bigly. Obviously, we did in James' deal because Ryan Giggs was pushed in saying this is a player you should pick up. And this fits the same mode. So $20 million from Championship, good size, decent speed, and he's a project. I like the sound of it. This is the kind of player I'm all about. You're out 20 million. He's a unit, bro. 6'4".
I don't need look, Dan James give Ryan Giggs one shot. The fact he's just trying to give any Swansea player to us because he's Welsh. I mean,
the good ones. And this guy's English.
It's look, I mean, well, he's playing for Swansea, in Wales, but at the same time, it's I don't need any more 20 million defenders like I need Phil Jones on our team. It's we need to be buying world-class defending talent. Apparently United, this is kind of going with the theme that they don't rate Lindelof to be the main man, and they want to bring in more people to give him competition. I don't think a 22-year-old who needs time is going to be giving Lindelof competition. I think we need the likes of Koulibaly. I think we need big-time defenders. But if you're saying, hey, we got to go to the bargain bin now where we need $20 million transfers, I'm open to it. But in order to give that proper competition, we got to be getting rid of defenders, right? We got Bailly, we got Jones, we got Lindelof, we have Maguire. You think adding a kid in there is what we need?
I mean, I just think based on the amount of money we're going to have at our disposal, we're not spending Koulibaly money. I wish we did.
We need a starter. We need who
they're not going to sign a starter. They're not going to sign a starter because they don't need a starting center back as badly as they need a starting right winger, or maybe a holding midfielder, or maybe a striker. Because we got decent positional depth, right? You got to get rid of Jones. Smalling looks to be on the way out. Rojo is done, but you do have Maguire, Lindelof, Bailly, Axel, and who am I missing? That's it, right?
Who needs players when you can't even play? That's another great question.
That's also true. So 20 million deals feel like the new norm, other than a Sancho deal, which is your blockbuster move and makes sense. I would even at 100 million, even with COVID, Sancho's worth it because he's 20.
Sounds like clickbait to me, sir. I don't think we're buying anyone until we know what's going to go on with football in general. Who knows what's going on with the transfer window? That's something we haven't even talked about. Nobody
knows. That's why it's all speculation. Next piece of news, though.
Yeah, speaking of speculation, Angel Gomez contract talks basically at a standstill. The 19-year-old wants to leave. He can leave for free at the end of June. This move, if you watch Some Know Until I Die season 2, you know what this move means. It's he out.
He probably is.
Maja. Just like Maja.
Maja's out. What's Maja doing? Maja ain't doing shit at Bordeaux, bro. He ain't doing nothing at Bordeaux. I looked up it. He looked into it. He's getting paid. He's getting paid. And Angel Gomez might go to Chelsea and get paid. But apparently we offered him 30,000 pounds a week, which is the same deal that Chong agreed to about a month ago or 2 months ago. Time is relative at this point. I have no idea what day it is, month it is. So that was their last-ditch effort. That's their take-it-or-leave-it offer for Angel Gomez. 30,000 pounds. I don't know. Is he going to find a better deal elsewhere? Maybe.
Hard to say. Maybe we should sign Josh Maja from Bordeaux. He's got the skills.
Yeah, he scored 4 goals this year. He did look good in Sunderland Until I Die. You carried that team.
He's
better than that striker they brought in, sir.
Oh my God, that was
that guy. That guy's not great.
If you have not watched Sunderland Until I Die season 2,
what are you waiting for?
Need to watch it. It's I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's great. It's absolutely great in a very Sunderland way. And our last bit of news, kind of funny here. Basically, Rojo got blown up on Instagram, just partying in Argentina, smoking and drinking with his boys, completely ignoring COVID-19 lockdown.
Was he smoking?
And you know what? Marcus Rojo, I was always a big fan. Love the tattoos. Love the hard challenges. He's kind of a dying breed. Someone that would just go all in, getting a straight red for no reason. I like having that type of player on the field for some reason ever since Roy Keane left. And I expect him to go all in on this quarantine. So Marcus Rojo says, screw it. Party with the lads. Don't worry about it. That's the type of life he lives.
Here's to
feeling
good all the time. That's what Marcus Rojo lives by. He's just enjoyed himself. And whatever. Whatever.
Hey,
Marcus
Rojo.
Rose.
Maybe he should run the FA, sir.
He said everybody back to work. Yeah.
You had people falling all over the pitch, sick as hell. Like Marcus Rojo, just get another tattoo.
He's enjoying himself. He's enjoying himself in Argentina, as he should. Legendary player. Had quite a tenure at Manchester United, but it looks to be at its end. I think it's the end of the road for Marcus Rojo at Manchester United.
Yes, absolutely. And look, it's been a real podcast, sir. I know you have a little baby you have to attend to, so thank you for sharing some time with the fans, doing the podcast, doing these recaps. It's good to keep the drive alive. Football will be back, and we cannot wait.
We appreciate all the fans that have been tuning in, keeping this pod afloat. It ain't the same. We're not gonna sugarcoat it. We're not gonna sugarcoat it, folks. We appreciate you guys so much, but this is like watching reruns, unfortunately, because we're watching old games and we're doing remote pods, so it's kind of like a double FU. So we appreciate all of those that are listening without a commute too, right? That was a big reason a lot of people listen to podcasts.
Well, I'm never nervous like we're gonna lose. So you don't have the highs and the lows, but you don't have
steady.
football. So it's kind of like, obviously not seeing you in person every weekend, just kind of doing the podcast in the bunker. I think everyone's kind of we're kind of hitting a wall. At least I feel like I am, with this quarantine stuff. It's just like this is kind of a bummer, and probably a bigger bummer than we realize, unfortunately. And that's why we're just kind of it's been better.
It's been better. This pod's been better.
Podcast with no Manchester United.
It's rough. It's pretty rough. All the news is fake, right? Because there's no transfers.
But dude, honestly, watching those games, it scratches an itch for me.
Same.
We don't appreciate it, and especially Sir Alex and Scholes, and I really do enjoy watching those classic matches, sir. As far as the energy and the pods, we could always do better.
We could always do better. But hey, the fans that are listening in week in, week out, we appreciate you. And let's should we run through that list, sir?
Absolutely. Give us your top downloads.
You want me to go do the whole thing top to bottom?
Top to bottom.
Top to bottom. You got it, buddy.
You do such a good job. You're take it away.
All right, number 1, how you doing? Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Number 2, Burnaby, Canada. Number 3, Corona, California. Very interesting. Number 4, Florence, South Carolina. Arlington, Virginia. Dallas, Texas. Noblesville, Indiana. Number 8, Orange, New Jersey. Belvedere, Texas, and last but not least, San Francisco, California. Number 11, Oslo, Norway as well. Appreciate the Shiretons. Appreciate all y'all listening in, week out. Gotta keep that red flag flying high, sir.
Life in Corona, California ain't the same. I'll tell you
I bet it ain't.
People ain't moving there.
Not in 2020.
Before it used to be that cool beer? That was the name of our town.
Now it's something else.
Mic check. Look, it's been a real podcast. Appreciate everyone tuning in. If you want to support us, you guys know the drill. Do the reviews, get the hoodie. Sir, it's been a real run. Still undefeated. How good does it feel?
Always at the wheel.